Assalamualaikum and hi to my friend and my beloved lecturer Sir Ismail bin Pahmi. I am Haziq bin Muhamad Zainuddin. I am from IMS455 and today I will do a presentation or video about the troubleshooting. And first of all, I will give you guys an introduction about troubleshooting. Troubleshooting is a systematic problem solving that apply to repair a failed product or processor on a machine or system in personal computer or laptop. There are several that we can use to solve troubleshooting on personal computer or laptop, such as identify the problem, find the causes, and try to fix the problem. There are many troubleshooting that are available, and for this assignment, I have chosen troubleshooting that are related to BIOS setting, as it is seen as a rare troubleshooting, and when it happens, the user is unable to solve this problem. So it makes this troubleshooting my choice, as it is considered different and can be used as a reference for me or for everybody that having this troubleshooting as a reference in the future. So next, I will tell about the history of the BIOS. In 1975, the term BIOS was explored by Gary Kildall, American computer scientist. It was added in 1981 to IBM's first personal computer and become a popular computer for a long period of time. But BIOS has become increasingly popular in favor of a new UEFI, that is stand for Unified Expensive Firmware Interface technology in 2017. Intel announced that it will phase out legacy BIOS system by 2020 and replace them with UEFI. Even so, there are still many PCs and laptops that still use the BIOS. The BIOS has many users, and the first thing that will run when a PC or laptop are turned on. BIOS mainly serve as a middleman between the operating system and the hardware on which they operate. Theoretically, BIOS is always the intermediary between information and data flow between the micronutrient and the I/O device control. While in some cases, BIOS can ensure that data flows from device such as video card to directly to memory, which require a faster data flow. So next, that is statement problem, and among the problem that always occur related to the BIOS is BIOS hang and the black screen never goes away and didn't pop up like normally operating system play its friendly startup chime. A BIOS failure does not necessarily mean you are looking at an expensive repair bill, and the next most common BIOS or CPU failure is overheating. The BIOS is the basic input-output system or firmware that the manufacturer install on your motherboard. The BIOS collect information about your computer hardware, activate your operating system, and give you operating system control of your computer hardware. Some BIOS elements, such as boot device priority, can be configured by the user. While the computer is booting up, you can access the BIOS configuration by following the instruction on your monitor. The BIOS also communicate via a series of LED flashes, dots on the computer monitor, or beep broadcast via the motherboard speaker. There are many types of beep emitted by the BIOS, and those sounds are troubleshooting faced by the PC or laptop, because the BIOS acts as the firmware that connect the hardware with the software. This is the example for several types of beep and problem presented by the BIOS. The beep that BIOS tells us is 1 beep refresh failure, 2 beeps parity error, 3 beeps memory error, 4 beeps time failure, and the last one is 5 beep, that means for processor failure.
Welcome to Dell Tech Support. If you're having no boot issues with your PC, it's a good idea to check the BIOS settings. Let's go over some steps to be sure you have everything set up correctly. Before attempting each step, you need to enter the BIOS each time. To enter BIOS, turn on your PC and press the F2 key repeatedly. Restoring settings in the BIOS can sometimes fix no boot problems. Once inside the BIOS, go to the Exit tab or click on Restore Settings and confirm to load the defaults. Exit the BIOS and your system should boot automatically. If it doesn't boot successfully, then try the next step. Many boot problems are a result of having an incompatible boot mode. In boot mode, you can select Legacy or UEFI, which depends on your operational system. Legacy boot mode enables booting to devices that support older legacy BIOS, such as Windows XP, Vista, or 7. UEFI boot mode enables the newer UEFI driver so it's compatible with Windows 8, 8.1, and 10. Having the wrong mode could result in incompatibility, which can prevent your computer from booting. Select the appropriate boot mode, then exit BIOS. Your system should reboot automatically. If it doesn't boot successfully, try the next step. Having the proper SATA interface can avoid boot issues. SATA stands for Serial Advanced Technology Attachment and is a computer interface used to attach hard drives. In most cases, there are three common SATA operation modes: ATA, which is compatible with older operating systems, AHCI, which works with modern operating systems like Windows 7, 8.1, and 10, and also has extra features that ATA lacks, and RAID, which enable users to set up a multi-drive configuration to improve disk performance. Check which interface is compatible with your PC's hardware configuration and select the proper one for your system. Once you've done that, exit the BIOS and your system should boot automatically. If it doesn't boot successfully, try the next step. Changing the boot order will help reduce boot issues. The method depends which BIOS you have, Legacy or UEFI. For Legacy, once in BIOS, go to the Boot tab, use either the plus or minus key, the F5 key or the F6 key to change the boot order. Afterwards, press F10 to save and exit. For UEFI, in BIOS, expand the General option, then Boot Sequence. Select the device to be changed from the list on the right hand side, then use the up and down arrows to change the boot order of the device. Click on Apply and Exit. For both processes, after exiting, when your system starts to boot automatically, press the F12 key when the Dell logo appears to access the boot menu. Select your hard drive option to make sure the PC will boot through it. If it doesn't work, go back and access the boot menu again. Select Diagnostic and start the EPSA test. This will search for possible errors in your PC that could be affecting your boot and provide resolutions.
For a conclusion, a PC or laptop is something that is successfully produced by human and solve many problems that come into our life and simplify daily affairs. It helps a lot according to the current circulation and modernization of the evolving system, and it also includes the BIOS. It can be likened to a herd that moves the world. Member technology that is considered to facilitate the affairs of universal human beings nowadays. Knowledge of PC maintenance is very helpful to solve small issues faced by user, and for example such as BIOS setting. If the BIOS has the wrong setting, it cannot connect to the hardware to the PC, and next is laptop software.